Hey everybody, what is going on? I am Maximus Rex, and yet again, this is Big Baby Reviews. Today's Tuesday, and it is Marc Silvestri Day, and that's why we're looking at his, at least in my collection, latest issue of Wolverine on his run there from the early 90s. This is issue 36, cover dated February 1990. Three things I want to talk about on this cover before we move on. It's not a particularly memorable cover, but I will say this. One, super insulting to have a Jim Lee drawn Wolverine added up here in the box rather than one drawn by the artist of the series, Marc Silvestri. Two, Wolverine shooting a gun. Doesn't seem to happen that much. Obviously, he's got the claws, so, you know, I'm sure it's happened in other books, but this is maybe one of those first instances. Maybe shocking to people at the time. And the third memorable thing is Wolverine smoking on a cigar. Why do I enjoy Wolverine smoking on a cigar so much? Because out of all the characters in this made-up fictional universe, Wolverine is the one that should be smoking. He's got a healing factor. He can do all these things that are enjoyable but are bad for your health because he, will just heal up and not have any issues with that. So he definitely should be smoking, as should the Thing, and as should Nick Fury. Maybe I'll start a petition at some point or some sort of movement to get these characters smoking again. Not that I'm trying to encourage smoking amongst anyone else, just the characters in the fictional universe. It's not a real universe. It's not real. Anyways, still enjoyable though and entertaining, right? So we continue on from last issue where, if you remember, and if you don't, I will go over it again. We are in La Guernica, which is, and they spell it out on the sign here, which is great storytelling, which is, an event where Hitler basically, they call it a practice run he kind of did before he actually officially declared war on everyone in 1939. This is April 1937, northern Spain. That's where Guernica is, the siege of Guernica. And if you know a little bit about Picasso, after this event, he painted a famous painting depicting the events. Larry Hama here, the writer, trying to bring a bit of culture and art history to comic books. Definitely not a bad thing. And definitely appreciated by this guy. I love history. And that's a great splash page to start off the issue. Marc Silvestri still focused more on storytelling than on big flashy images. That'll change a little bit as we move towards the image revolution. But for the time being, he's just a really solid artist. And again, you'll see, I think, less and less of the Buscema influence as we move across these issues. I'm starting to see it less in this issue. Still some of the Mignola, but eventually he'll really come into a style before he starts kind of aping Jim Lee a little bit. For me, the peak Marc Silvestri is late kind of Wolverine issues, and when he starts Cyberforce. After that, he does get more of a Jim Lee bent, which I don't enjoy quite as much. Great splash. So again, still lots of great storytelling at this time at Marvel with these Marvel artists, these pre-image artists. When you want to have a car driving really fast, make sure the wheels don't touch the ground, right? Especially in cartooning. Wolverine, for some reason, picks some tools as weapons here. Some of these sound effects are a little odd. Kaboosh. Not quite sure. Rat-tat-tat-tat-tat for a machine gun, though. I can get behind that. Yeah, so the storyline again, Wolverine has been teleported to the past with Puck by a mutant who has teleportation powers. I forget his name. Looks kind of like an Australian Aboriginal. And so they basically find themselves fighting Nazis, pre-World War II Nazis, right? 1937. So this scene is super awesome because basically from last issue we saw that the Nazis kind of came up on Lady Deathstrike. We don't know that's her here, but I'm mentioning it. Now, spoiler. So they're basically hanging her here, right? And tastefully done, even though it's kind of a macabre scene, right? Of course, the vulture is so tropey, but that works. It's a cool image for sure. So they leave her hanging here, and the fact that it's all just done in silhouette is super awesome and tasteful, but I think it's almost creepier that way than if it was super detailed and graphic. And then you turn the page, and I love the sequence here because it's just kind of creepy and surreal. They're pointing, and he's like, she's not dead. And I guess she's just, you know, she flexes her neck, and I just love the sequence from here to here. Like, oh my God, if you saw that and she came down, you would probably freak out. So she introduces herself to the Nazis as Deathstrike, kills a bird while she's doing it, you know, to prove her point that I guess she's known for her death strikes. It's kind of what's going on here. I know, it's kind of cheesy. Forget this guy's name. Like, what a lame costume. Donald Pierce, is that maybe his name? Just do not like that guy. I've never been interested in this aspect of X-Men lore. There's the teleporter guy, right? The Aboriginal guy. And back to 1937, Spain, Guernica. Adrian Brody is in this comic. Doesn't look like him here, but he does here. All right, so Deathstrike is kind of figuring out that she's, you know, with a bunch of Nazis. That's basically what's happening there. Getting a lot of Mignola vibes on this page. This figure here, the horse kind of blacked out here with these tick lines. Still got some of the Mignola, but again, I'm seeing less and less of the John Buscema, right? His faces, you know, male and female, getting a little more angular, slightly more modern looking maybe in the delivery of the line, right? Even though he's not inking himself yet. I think once he starts inking himself, just like a lot of these artists, that's where it really kind of starts they start to get cooking and really, you know, pushing the artwork forward, experimenting, and just more of what they want to put on the page, which makes sense. So here we might have, you know, here it's kind of fighting, I find, between John Buscema and Jim Lee almost, this Wolverine face here. But like these faces here, this is what I like from Silvestri. This to me is very Silvestri. Like it's almost like his bystanders get better before the main characters, right? Before he settles, I guess, on his Wolverine is how I'd put it. He's still kind of feeling it out a little bit. I think that will kind of crystallize though in around the 40s. And by 40s, I mean the issues, right? I was never into Lady Deathstrike much as a character. I think I talked about it for last Wolverine, last Mark Silvestri episode. You know, another one of these characters who fights Wolverine, who has claws, right? Adrian Brody's back again. Again, I'll commend him for a lot of panels on each page. Lots of storytelling going on. We're not going the image route quite yet. So, okay, these 2 pages, there's a few things I want to mention. You know, if you really pay attention here, this panel, right, this whole section of Wolverine is blue, which is odd, but, you know, in a color sense, it creates a shade, right? And I think just for some reason, I really like the way that blue is used there. I think it works really well. We've got the famous writer here again, right? From I talked about it last issue, last review. I forget his name now, who that's supposed to be, but check out last episode if you want to know. And the other sequence here, okay, so I commend Mark Silvestri. He's a great artist. You know, every artist can have hits and a few misses here and there. Nothing wrong with this whole page. Great storytelling. But what is going on here? So to me, honestly, if I look at the silhouette here, I feel like Wolverine's either pulling out one of his boots or his mask from his ass. Like, doesn't look like it's coming out of a pocket or that it was tucked. I mean, if it was tucked in there, it's like next to his butt crack, I guess I have to assume from this silhouette shot. But I'm like, doesn't it look to you like he's either pulling out his mask or a boot from his ass? That's what's going on there. That's where Wolverine hides his costume, I guess. Or his mask, at least, right? Oh, so, you know, maybe he's already got the boots on underneath and just pulls the mask out of his ass. That's where he hides it. So we get just some cool kind of compositional shots, I think, here, right? I like the way these are composed. Throwing an explosive, the way this is done. It's a bit of a deadline style, maybe, where you got to get some pages out. But super effective storytelling wise. The foreground here with, you know, the silhouette, it keeps the pace moving along, right? So you can hit those deadlines. And down here, I just think, although this is not like a splash page or anything big, this little shot of Wolverine here kind of coming out of the smoke and the fog is just so cool and menacing. So well done, right? Just, yeah, just very effective. And there we go. The fighting erupts and the issues to be continued. And that's where we're going to leave it there for today. Some more Mike Mignola looking panels here, right? So there you have it. Wolverine 36, not one of the most memorable issues. We will be moving into, I think, when we get to about 40, 41, what I consider to be some more exciting, kind of interesting issues. But, you know, I want to go through the whole run and look at that evolution in the art for all these artists that I'm looking at all throughout the week. So if you haven't seen those other videos, please do me a favor, like and subscribe, and you'll get a notice when my videos come out. They are daily. If you have any questions, comments, or answers for me, feel free to comment at the bottom here. Thank you everyone out there for watching, and have an excellent day.
Like, subscribe, like, subscribe.
King Comics presents Big Baby, Volume 1, Issues 1 to 13, 204 pages of story and art. King Comics also presents Star Crasher one-shot, 32 pages, cosmic sci-fi surrealist adventure. You can find these fine comics at KingComics.CA, at MaximusRex13 on Instagram, or on Facebook, MaxRex or Big Baby.